Hello and welcome once again. This is episode 5, and it is very early in the morning right now. I'm not usually up and playing this early. It's actually a weekend, so it's a very weird time for me to be up this early. But I'm up, so I figured why not have a relaxing morning playing some WoW. Sun is already up pretty high, considering it's 5:30. That's interesting. The sun is very much on summer hours in the game, it seems. It is very much still dark in real life right now. So, let me remind myself what we're doing here. We've got some flatland prowler claws to collect. Those are right outside, so that's no problem. And we need to head to Red Rocks. I think let's do those first. Oh yeah, and I can cleanse the last well. Also very close, so let's start with those things. I'm going to the second elevator in Thunder Bluff. There's actually two. I've been using just one this whole time so far. On the southwestern side, there's also another set of elevators back here in the back, the north end. And this is where the final well is. There's also plenty of flatland prowlers back here too, so. These are goblin huts over here. The Venture Co., they're all over the place in Mulgore, it seems. Goblin buildings and conventions always seem to have twirling, spinning things all over them for seemingly no reason. And here's our final water well. Oops. Still collecting herbs. We're at 49. This might give us 50. Yep. Now I can train the next rank of herbalism too. I'll try to remember to do that when we go into Thunder Bluff again here in a little bit. As you can see, I moved my hotbars around a little bit off screen. Still have all the same spells, just moved them around, so no difference there. Might be able to get close enough here. Probably not. Actually, let's be safe. Oh, pulled an extra. That should be fine, I think. As long as that third one doesn't come over here too. Better back up. The wolves behind me. Wow, this is actually going to be a problem, isn't it? Oh no. Oh no. Wow. That was actually really close. I did not expect that to happen. Almost my first death. Don't want that to happen quite yet. Would have been better off with stone skin there, but I did not expect pulling a second guy. Oops. Oh, that was dumb. Hopefully he doesn't come back around too quickly. Just in time. Alright, that was dangerous, but we got it. Let's start killing some prowler claws. Or killing some prowlers, collecting some claws. So the fire effect from my weapon enchant that I'm using, Flame Tongue weapon, seems really loud. I don't think that would count as ambient sounds. That should count as sound effects, I would think. So I'm not sure why that is, but I don't recall that being so loud. I'm gonna play around with that. See if I can change it. Because with a fast-hitting weapon, that's going off constantly. If it truly is that loud all the time, I think I'll... if it's really that bad, I'll not even use that spell anymore. I think that'll get really irritating over time. I also don't particularly care for Rock Biter, because part of the effect of it is it causes extra threat, which really means nothing to me when I'm playing by myself. So I'll just have to deal with it for now, because those are the only two that I have. And then a little bit later we'll get, I think, two more. I think I get another one. Oh, god dang it. I get another one called Frostbrand, which does frost damage and also slows the enemy, I believe. And then there's another one that's Wind Fury weapon, which, if anyone's ever played Shaman before, or I guess any melee class on Horde side who can benefit from Wind Fury, you certainly know what that is. Warriors or rogues, I guess. It's a very coveted buff. Well, it's a totem. There's a weapon that I can put on myself, and then there's also a totem I'll get that benefits everyone in the party, and it greatly increases attack speed. think. Actually, now I'm questioning myself. Does it increase attack speed, or is that the one that occasionally allows a second hit? One of those two things. Either way, it greatly increases the damage that you deal as a melee character, so I'm sure once I have that, and if I'm running dungeons, even if I'm healing or something, melee characters, warriors and rogues, will certainly be begging me to put that totem down. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see the players at all this early. I guess there might have been a couple in Thunder Bluff. I wasn't actually even really paying attention. But it's quite early for most players right now, I would think. I am usually up this early on weekdays, but usually not on weekends. It was one of those nights where I actually fell asleep early on accident, earlier than intended. So, ended up waking up early as well. It happens sometimes. As I'd been mentioning in previous videos, that I'd been a little sick, hence my voice not sounding great. I'm sure that still has something to do with it. So I think one of these, yeah, for this one we've got to go back to Mole Thunderhorn back in Bloodhoof Village. But this one goes to Thunder Bluff, so we can turn this one in now. We'll have to hang on to this one for a little bit. And while we're up there, I can train my next herbalism level. And I think we'll head right back out and head over to Red Rocks. This is Middle Rise. Oh yeah, here we are. Perfect place.
Greetings, traveler.
Journeyman. So there are actually level requirements in order to train each rank of any given profession. Hang on a sec, I think I need to go to Hunter Rise. Oops. Didn't mean to push that. Each profession, I think it's split in gathering versus production professions. I think the level requirements are different. So I'm actually not entirely sure what the requirements are for the gathering professions, which is both of what I have on this character. I'm pretty sure they're lower. But as far as production professions go, I think you need to be level 10 to train up to 150, like what I just did for both of those two. I think level 10 is a requirement, and then level 20, I believe, to get 225, and then level 35 to get the maximum, which is 300. Greetings. There's an air about you that tells me much. Do we have business, you and I? Scorn Whitecloud is a wise Tauren. He's hunted for years and years, and although his body is old, his spirit burns fiercely. We're honored to have him with us. If Scorn sent you to me, then you too have the hunter's spirit, and to have gathered these claws shows your burgeoning skills. Perhaps you are ready to walk the path. If you wish to walk the hunter's path, then your journey leads to the Barrens. Its beasts are strong-willed and fierce. You will learn much by hunting there, and your spirit will grow. Speak with Sergra Darkthorn. She'll be your first guide in the Barrens. Sergra is at the crossroads. To reach her, travel east from Bloodhoof Village into the Barrens, then north as the road forks. And have care as you travel. The Barrens holds great danger for the unprepared and unwary.
Ancestors watch.
Alright, so not including my shaman quest, we got our first breadcrumb quest to the to the Barrens. So we're getting there, we're getting close. Not too many quests left to do here in Mulgore, but I do want to wrap it up before we move on. I believe I had mentioned in a previous episode that I would like to at least go to every zone at least a little bit. I certainly won't be completing every zone like I did on my hunter, but I would like to go to each one at least somewhat. This zone, the starting zone, will almost certainly be... Let's see, this one's coming first. This one will almost certainly be the only zone that I make sure to actually complete. It just feels right to do for the starting zone, you know. Your home, your people. I can wrap this one up no problem, but from here on out, you know, the Barrens is so big and has so many quests. If we look at the map here, so this is Mulgore, and this whole thing is the Barrens. It's an enormous zone. In fact, it's the largest zone in the entire game. It'll last a Horde player from roughly 10 to 12 whenever you leave the starting zone that you start in, to easily over 25 or higher if you play straight through the whole thing. So we will likely, actually I can guarantee we'll be spending plenty of time in the Barrens, as any low-level Horde character does. So Tauren, let me close my map, make sure I'm not going to run into anybody here. So Tauren start here in Mulgore. This little chest-looking piece indicates Thunderbluff, one of the capital cities for the Horde. So that's where Tauren start. Orcs and trolls start over here in Durotar, and this is Orgrimmar, which is actually the Horde capital. Here's the city. We'll go there at some point. And in between the two is the Barrens. So all three of those races all end up in the Barrens from level 10 to 25 or whatever, how long it takes. The undead actually start in a completely separate continent. So this western continent that we're starting on is called Kalimdor, and then there's also the eastern kingdoms. And the undead actually start way up here in the corner in Tearsful Glades, and they have a capital city called the Undercity. And they have their own path to go through, so there's another level 10 to 20-ish, not quite as big as the Barrens zone, called Silverpine Forest right here. But a lot of the undead players actually still come over to the Barrens. So virtually all level 10 plus Horde characters are leveling through the Barrens. So Red Rocks is to the east, like the man in the cave told me many episodes ago now. We're finally accomplishing what he's asked. Taking care to not aggro anything more than we need to. I actually think running through a zone and dodging aggro is actually kind of fun. It's almost like its own mini game to me. It's relatively easy. Mobs tend to stay kind of within one area. It's almost like there's one center spot that they are like leashed to, an invisible leash, and they can wander anywhere, you know, within some radius of that center spot, that point. But they can't go farther than that, so they kind of just wander back and forth in the same general area. So Red Rocks is this little area right over here. However, there's actually one more quest that we can do in the same area that I did not know about. I never found when I was a new player. It wasn't until later that I discovered it. So let's make sure to grab it. It's easy to do at the same time, so no reason not to. There's actually a quest giver somewhere. There he is, over by the trees over here, that I never found originally. I think I would come in from Thunder Bluff, you know, basically the way that we just came, but I kind of just took a straight line straight over there, and I never came over this way. I'm willing to bet a lot of other players don't know about this guy as well. Only the most valiant Torn are laid to rest at Red Rocks, our sacred burial ground. It is an honor bestowed upon the great warriors who helped found and defend Thunder Bluff, and those who have given their lives for the greater good of their tribes and chieftains. But it appears a foul menace has made its way onto our holy land. A band of bristleback interlopers is ravaging the gravesite, and I am too old and past my prime to drive them away. They must be driven off with force.
Walk with the Earth Mother.
So, the bristleback, who I believe are the same guys that we were taking care of very early on. I believe it's the same tribe of Quilboar, right? So for some reason they are invading our burial grounds. Let's drop... Yeah, let's do stone skin. Let's play it safe. There's a lot of guys here. And I'm pretty sure these guys run. So actually, I could drop an Earthbind Totem. That could be potentially helpful too. Just be ready with Earth Shot if I need to hit them with that. If they run in the direction towards their buddies. As far as I'm aware, it's actually completely random, the direction that they try to escape in. I know it oftentimes seems like they tend to run towards their friends, but I mean the two of them right there already did not do that, so I think it's just kind of a confirmation bias sort of situation when it does happen. Don't want to go that way either. So if they run away and end up getting to one of their friends, it will aggro the other friend, and then they'll both come running back, which can easily turn into a problem, as I'm sure you can guess. So don't worry about that. Muscle tear, that's a pretty bad one. 10 strength is a lot at this level. Oh, already wearing that belt. Man, my get too close to that guy. So here's our spirit that we need to get in there and talk to. So we're making our way that way. And since we needed to kill these guys to get to him anyway, that's why picking up that other quest is easy to just get done at the same time, because you're already doing it. Just a little bonus experience. The Red Rocks of Mulgore. Not to be confused with the Red Rocks of Colorado, which is a concert venue. And I'm pretty sure not a sacred burial ground. But it could be. Who knows? I think we can just get one more. Wrap up our quest. Talk to this guy. And get back out of here. Oh, look at that. They knocked this one over. Oh, and this is the dead Tauren that got knocked off, I think. Man. Cold War Rufus. Oh my god, I almost died and I was not even paying attention. Seems like my first death won't be too far away if I keep playing this way. You've shown great diligence in your yearning to pass the rites of the Earth Mother. We, the ancient ancestral spirits, represent the mighty Tauren who gave their lives bravely to found and protect our great city of Thunderbluff. I hereby pass the duty of that protection over to you. You've passed the rite of wisdom, young shaman. Enter Thunderbluff with pride. You will now be revered within our great city. Any Tauren worthy of completing the rites of the Earth Mother earns that honor. For your final quest, seek out our noble leader, Cairn Bloodhoof, who dwells atop the highest mesa in Thunderbluff. Alright. Time to meet Cairn, finally. I don't feel like fighting more guys just to get that Earth root there, so we'll leave it for someone else. And turn in. Is that his lantern there? Yeah, there he is.
How?
Lore Keeper Rain Totem. I kind of like that name. Well done. You've sent those foul bristlebacks a clear message. They will think twice before attempting to meddle in this holy spot again.
Go.
Even though there's still a lot of them there. Alright, level 11. Let's not forget to apply our talent point. And we'll just keep going on with the mana that we started with last time. So learning new spells, like we've been doing, only happens every other level, on even levels, but talent points you get every single level, both odd and even. So every time you level, you want to make sure to remember to do that. The only indication you get is the barely noticeable flashing icon down here, but you can easily miss that, so just gotta remember. These guys don't want me to take their peace bloom here, huh? It really does feel like a summer morning, doesn't it? Out here. Even the lighting colors, I mean, they nailed it. It's pretty nice to think about right now, considering the winter that we're actually having outside. I think where I live it was supposed to be 9 degrees this morning, like right now. So I do not have any plans to go outside this morning. I'll just pretend I'm going to a concert at Red Rocks in the summer. That sounds a lot nicer right now. So we're still experiencing the mysterious dead bodies of Thunder Bluff. There's even one up here. Very, very strange. I truly do not have an explanation for what that is. I suppose that's part of the reason that we have to have our weekly Tuesday server resets. To clean up all of the glitchy nonsense that happens throughout the week. Let's Tanned, the basket weaver.
How?
Oh, he sells bags. Okay. Well, he sells bags, but he'll also buy all my random crap. Next hand. So, let's go talk to Karen. It's up here on the upper rise. His little chieftain tent. I shouldn't say little, big chieftain tent. Holding a giant totem pole for a weapon. These are really awesome. If you ever played Warcraft 3, all of the Tauren units, there was really only one, I think, Tauren unit, and he was just a brawler unit essentially. But they all carried these giant totems that they just blasted their enemies with. So it was probably a bummer coming into WoW for the first time, and if you started up a Tauren character thinking you might be able to use a totem, but unfortunately you cannot. Only Cairn, only the chieftain. Greetings, young one, and welcome to Thunderbluff. You'll find safe refuge from the burdens of the world here. All denizens of the Horde are welcome here. The spirits of the present and past come alive here in this sacred place, my friend. Honor them, and in doing so, honor yourself. Hail, young shaman. I see you found your way to my doorstep. You have passed the rites of the Earth Mother and earned your place in Thunderbluff. But in order to maintain the spot that you strive so hard to achieve, you must continue to prove your worth to your people. We are hunters. Down below in Mulgore, there is a mighty Kodo named Arachia. Show me your skills in the ways of tracking and hunting by bringing me the horn of Arachia. Level 14 quests. Still orange for us. Not quite doing that one yet. So, I think we've got two options here. We can either go complete the Venture Co. quest now, or we can do this Harpy Feather quest, since it's actually right outside Thunderbluff. I think I want to go do the Venture Co. Both of these two. So those are the quests we got from... I can't think of his name, but the guy that wanders back and forth on that path down outside of Bloodhoof Village. After we went to the caravan and opened that crate, he asked us to go east and kill more of them, basically. Kill the supervisor. So let's go do that. And at the same time, we can turn in our Wild Maiden Cleansing quest and get us a nice staff. 5.6 damage per second to 2.9. Yeah, that's a significant increase. Oh, I did look it up off screen. I had found that two-handed axe. Shaman can use axes, and I can learn it in Thunderbluff. However, to use a two-handed axe, you actually need... Oops, fell off the platform there. You actually need this talent in the enhancement tree, which I will be going down. I am going down. But, oh. Thank you, Kendemu. Good to see another player playing at 6 a.m. for no reason. Yeah, you need a talent to use two-handed axes and maces. And it'll take until, what? So this will be 10 to 14. This row will be 15 to 19. Level 20 at absolute earliest that I can grab this. So I went ahead and sold that axe because I'm not going to hang on to it until I'm level 20. It will be probably garbage by then, so unfortunately I couldn't use it. But that is good to know that I can use axes as well, in case I happen to find a good one. I can hang on to it, and then once we move into the Barrens, I can at some point run over to Orgrimmar. I want to go there at some point anyway, and I could learn axes there. Shaman can use a fair amount of weapons. Warriors can use easily the most, which makes sense. I think warriors can use literally every single weapon in the game, except for wands, which of course makes sense. They can even use staves, which is the one thing that you'd think maybe they don't. Staves are kind of, for the most part, intended to be for casters. They almost always have, you know, like intellect, spirit type of stats on them, which intellect is basically useless to a warrior. It increases your mana, which I had mentioned previously, and warriors don't use mana, so that's useless. And it also slightly increases the rate at which you learn weapon skills, which is interesting. I'm willing to bet a lot of people don't even know that, which I guess technically is of use to a warrior if for some reason you're wanting to build up your staff skill, because, you know, if you have it equipped, that's what you're going to be learning. But realistically, that's meaningless. So intellect means nothing to a warrior. Spirit is nice, though. Spirit is nice to everyone, actually, while you're out leveling and questing. Spirit increases the rate at which your health and mana regenerate, which is very, very helpful. I think Spirit doesn't get a lot of respect, especially by, like, you know, warriors or something, but it's still actually really, really nice to have. You've done it. You've cleaned the wells and healed our land. Bloodhoof Village is grateful. May the wind whisper your deeds for 100 seasons, and may the waters of Mulgore remain clean forever. Yeah, 4.4 for a one hand. That'd be nice too, but let's take this staff.
We shall meet again.
And we will hang on to the shield. And I guess one-hander for now. Alright, so you can kind of see the path leading up here into the mountains. That's where we need to go. They've got a mine operation going on. Going into this mine is one of the places where it's actually nice to have other players with you. As is true for pretty much any humanoid. The guys in here run, similar to how the Adventure Co guys at the well that we were fighting just a little bit ago were running. And when you're inside of a cave, you know, it's pretty tight quarters, and it can be a problem. So it's always nice to have a buddy with you in these. I guess that's one reason to foolishly be playing so early when hardly anyone else is playing. I can almost guarantee that there will not be anyone else in there with me, but who knows? We might get lucky. Might actually make use of my Earthbind totem. It's only for 10 yards though, which is not very big. You've got to be like right on top of them to get some use out of it. So we'll see how that goes for us. We've got an Earth Root up there. I'm gonna grab that after we kill this guy. Oh yeah, we've got to relearn our staff skill a little bit. It's only, well, 39. It's actually not bad. We'll be alright. Vending. Whoops, fell down. Gonna play a little King of the Hill here. Another Earth Root. Here's somewhere. In the hills. No, don't see it. Yeah, let's go get it. Should only be just this one last guy. Oof. 61 crit. That was a bad one. Bad for him, anyway. Here it is. What's also rough with these cave situations is, you know, you've got to fight the whole way in to get to the guy you need. In our case right now is his sprocket. And, you know, it takes a while to fight your way in, right? what sucks is by the time you get all the way in there and finally get your guy, a lot of the guys in the tunnel that you needed to kill on your way in have respawned. So you've got to re-kill a lot of the guys on your way back out. So it's just kind of annoying a little bit. Oh, we got our supervisor coming on. Not a big deal. Thankfully there aren't any casters or healers in the cave. That would be much more difficult to deal with. Oh, it'll be so nice when I have my fire totem. Got a friend. I don't want to spoil what the fire totem does, I guess. Maybe I mentioned it previously, I don't really remember, but I guess I should save that for when I actually get it, right? Shouldn't be talking about stuff too far in advance. Could probably sneak past him. Yeah. Probably skip all of them. Be careful sneaking through. This is very risky what I'm doing. Oops, pulled somebody. That's what you don't want to happen. But I think we'll be okay. I could really use a new rank of my heal spell. It's not doing a whole lot for me. There's our guy. So I'm gonna put this on him so I don't lose track. These raid targets are things you can apply to anyone, including yourself or other players or whatever. In dungeon groups, it is very common to use those. That's kind of a communication tool. The skull is pretty much universally understood to be kill this guy first. And then there are a number of other icons of different shapes and colors that aren't completely universally agreed upon to what they mean. So it's always good to, you know, obviously talk to your other players to discuss what you want them to do. Ooh, 9. Look at that. New back. Is that better than oops? Oh, same shield. Okay. I don't know if I can get him by himself. He might be too close, but we're gonna give it a shot. And we did. Alright, good deal. 12. Wow. Alright, got the clipboard. Let's boogie. Yeah, 7. Since I was able to thankfully skip a fair amount of these guys, hopefully there's not a lot of respawns already. Looking good so far. Oops, left that guy. Alright, I think we got lucky. Good deal. We do still need to kill 5 more workers, but that's no problem. Hit. Respawns are just now starting. I got out right at the right second. Oh, come on, man. A lot of this low-level loot, I'm still just gonna vendor. I mean, like, gems in general are valuable, except Tiger's Eye is pretty much not. It only sells in the auction house for barely more than what you can vendor it for, so in my opinion, it's not even worth it. To list things on the auction house, you have to pay a small amount just to list it, and you know, you pay that regardless of whether or not it sells. So in a way it's a small amount of risk, and if what you're going to sell it for is barely more than what you can just vendor it for without the listing price in the auction house, then you know, why even bother? Two more, and I think here's our last 2 guys right here. I'll kill this dwarf and that ogre. Ogres seem like they should be scary to fight because they're so big, but yeah, they're no different than anyone else. I mean, there are some that are difficult, but for now, nah, they're the same thing. Oh, we'll get our first green weapon rewards. And I can't use either one. So, two-handed maces, same situation that I was just talking about earlier with the axes. I would need that talent, so not going to hang on to that till level 20. Also interesting, it's called the Goblin Smasher, which is funny. But interesting fact, you can see towards the bottom there, it says Races Tauren, meaning only Tauren can equip this item. Looks like a pretty regular mace. I am wondering, I don't know, I've never really looked into it, but I'm wondering if this was originally one of those giant totem poles, or it was intended to be one. Back in you know, the early stages of vanilla, and that's why only Tauren could wield it. And then, who knows, they decided that was unfair since nobody else could use it, that they turned it into a regular mace. But they kept the Tauren requirement on it, so that's strange. As far as I can think of, this is literally the only item in the game that has a race requirement. And there's also a dagger option, which now I can't remember if shaman can use daggers or not. If they can, I can potentially actually take that one because you can learn new weapon types at level 10. Which oh wait, what am I doing? Gotta turn these quests into the guy on the road over here. Running the wrong way. So this is actually the path that leads to the Barrens. Over here. East into the Barrens. So we will be coming back here in hopefully not too long. Should only have this small handful of quests to go. And I'll bet you I'll hit level 12. There's our druid friend again. I think that's the same guy. Yeah, we'll almost certainly hit level 12 before we leave here. There's our guy, Morin Cloudstalker. That's right.
Greetings.
I don't think there could be too much misinterpreting or ignoring of that signal, The Venture Co. will know not to take the Tauren lightly, or to be so arrogant as to believe we would allow them to steal the natural resources around us without protest. I seethe with anger at the thought of the atrocities the Venture Co. is willing to perpetrate against us in the name of profit. My anger is somewhat lessened at the news that the villain Fizz Sprocket is dead. I will go through his personal effects. That sounds strange, right? And see if there is any additional information about what the Venture Co. has planned for the future. Thank you for your efforts. So I'm actually going to take a quick time out and look up whether or not I can use a dagger or not. So I'll be back in a second. So it turns out that I can use daggers. So I'm going to take that for now.
Farewell.
We got our first green weapon. That is exciting. That I can't use yet. I'm willing to bet that I cannot learn daggers here in Thunderbluff. I think I'll have to do it in Orgrimmar. And I'm hoping I don't have to go all the way to Undercity. So different weapon trainers in different cities teach different weapon skills. Some of them overlap, but some of them don't. There are a few that you can only learn in one particular city. I think maces can only be learned here in Thunderbluff. And I think swords can only be learned in Undercity. And I'm wondering if that means only axes can be learned in Orgrimmar? I would think daggers would be probably one of the more common ones. So I think I can probably learn that in Orgrimmar. Hopefully so. I don't want to have sell that dagger just because it's going to be too long before I can learn to use it. Let's vendor all of our stuff here.
What brings you here?
All right. We made some good progress. I guess next we will be doing these harpy feathers. But I think this is a good time to wrap up this episode. So thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.